And there was some very interesting news that came out this week that, of course, shook Twitter to its core. I remember, I think we all remember the night where we all found out that Melissa Barrera was fired from Scream 7. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be very honest. I have not watched the new Scream movies. I have been meaning to watch the new Scream movies, and I did generally want to, but it was in a way where I was like, I feel like I need to watch the first movie and then go all the way through so I can be caught up. Because I know that the new
Right.
movies reference the older ones, and I've seen the older ones, but it's been a minute, so I would need a
Right.
refresher. But essentially, Melissa Barrera has been fired from Scream 7 uh, as of recent due to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Melissa has been sharing a lot of her opinions and her feelings towards everything that's going on social media. And as a response to that, um, Spyglass? Spyglass Studios decided, you know what, girl? I actually think that actually that's not gonna work
Mm.
for us. So they have fired her from the film, and following that, Jenna Ortega has left the film as well. Her
Hmm.
team said that she left due to scheduling conflicts with Wednesday season 2, which I mean, yeah, sure, girl, okay, if that's
Maybe.
the line we're going with, but what we really know is that she got let go because she was basically just calling out the genocidal practices of IDF towards the people in Gaza um, during this conflict, during
Right.
this tension that's been happening since October 7th. And, a lot of people have taken Melissa Barrera's side, which I also have. And I
Hmm.
sort of say, um, I know that she's going to be fine. I hope that she's gonna be fine. I hope that she's gonna be good. Um, and you know, it was kind of like a shock, and I don't want to say that I was like surprised because like Hollywood is not a great place, but I
Right.
was just kind of like on my behalf, I was happy to see so many people supporting her and showing so
Yeah.
much love. At least on my timeline. I'm sure other people's timelines, because like they probably were saying other things, but I'm just glad that she got so much support and that her co-star in the movie said, "You know what? I don't need to be in your movie anyways, because that is Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
She's gonna be
She's a big
good.
name.
Yes, she's gonna be good regardless." So, and
Yeah.
and I know that the director said something on Twitter, and I just want to say that was weak sauce, sir.
Mm.
He said something like, "Oh, this is so sad. Don't yell at me. Everything sucks right now." That is the star of your movie. You are the director. You're in charge of the production. You could go to Spyglass and be like, "Hey, I'm actually not going to direct the movie anymore because I started this franchise with Melissa, and I'm not going to end it without her." That's what you could
Yep.
have said instead of saying
Yeah.
what you did say on Twitter and then deleted because you knew what you said was wrong.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes people's their true nature shows in certain ways because there's a lack of having a backbone about you
Mm-hmm.
know being there, actually standing up for people's rights. You know what I mean? And once it gets to that point, it's hard to come back from that, and it's hard for your image to remain intact after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of people in Hollywood understand that it's just kind of easier to be silent and to not have that backbone.
Yeah.
It's easier to be Tom Wamsgams. It's easier to like take the punches and take the hits and just let people walk all over you because in the
Hmm.
end, that's kind of what people who lead like these corporations and the executives. That's what they want. They want
Right.
the person who's going to come in, do the job, and if they feel staunchly about something and you oppose it, they don't want to hear your opposition. They just want you to do your job. All
Yeah.
right. You open your
Exactly.
mouth, you say your opinion, and your opinion doesn't match mine. You're not gonna have a job at the end of the day. So how about you
Yeah.
just do your job?
Yeah. Fucking up the bag, so to speak.
I'm glad that she, stood on business and said, "Listen, I'm not going to be silent. I am a
Mm-hmm.
Latina, proud Mexicana. I feel the responsibility of having a platform that allows me the privilege of being heard, and therefore I have tried to use it to raise awareness about issues I care about and to lend my voice to those in need. So I'm so happy for her, and I'm so proud of her. And one little thing that I am happy about as well is that since she isn't working on Scream 7 anymore, people have been making all these like fan cams about her. And
Mm.
of the fan cams that I've seen, they pull a lot of scenes from this show called Vida that she was
Mm.
on Stars, and I'm actually really happy because Vida was one of my favorite shows ever. But it's one of those shows you
Oh.
watch and you're like, oh, this is so good, but no one's seen it and nobody knows it. And like, I want to scream from the rooftops how amazing this show is, but like, I don't know how to make 100 people watch it. So now that she's kind of left the show, people are kind of like discovering her other projects. So I encourage everyone to please go watch Vida. It's streaming on Hulu. If you don't have Hulu, just pirate it. I don't care. But it's a show about these two sisters. They find out that their mom has passed away. And
Mm-hmm.
they have to go home and basically have a funeral, get her affairs in order, and they realize their mom had a bar, but their mom
Mm-hmm.
was so in debt. So they're like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna help her? One of the sisters, played by Melissa Barrera, is like flighty and she's spontaneous and she's like young wild free type. And then the other sister, she is like stone cold, doesn't care, tell you to your face that she doesn't like you, and
Right.
bisexual, and fully just like uses sex as a way to get attraction from other people, affection from other people, but obviously doesn't want to be in a romantic relationship because that's too much commitment and she's kind of screwed up and she cannot get emotionally invested in anything like that. And the
Right.
show is very much talks about, what it's like to be Latina, what it's like to deal with gentrification, and what it's like to just be queer. And it's a really good show and I love it so much. And I think there are three, maybe two seasons of it, but I highly encourage everyone to watch it. And if you guys have seen A League of Our Own,
Mm-hmm.
one of the actors from A League of Our Own is in Vida, but I forget their name. But they're the person that looks like that one actor from Our Flag Means Death. They kind of
Okay.
look the same. You know what I mean? Very
I'll take your
skinny.
word for it. Yeah. I don't know
um,
either of them.
I'm so sorry.
That's
But
totally fine. Someone out there will make the connection with you.
some someone out there is like listening to this and they're like, no, I get it. You don't have to explain
I get
anymore.
it.
I
I'm
get
you.
it. I
I
see
feel
it in
seen
my
and heard.
brain. So highly recommend you guys go watch Vida.
I'll put it down.
One one of my favorite shows. How did you feel about Melissa being fired from Scream? Like, were you surprised by it?
I think it's a little bit surprising. It's unsurprising at the same time because these kinds of things have been happening. People have been
Mm-hmm.
losing their jobs for posting, pro-Palestine statements, and it really is kind of in that way, just following in that sort of censorship. But especially with how much is at stake with these franchises and how much like clouds and money they lose by doing this,
Mm-hmm.
it really kind of shows you how, you know, corrupted they are in terms of their priorities, that they're at some point, even these very, focused on money, focused on success companies will put stuff on the line for the sake of defending, like for the sake of silencing people.
Right.
And I think Melissa will be okay. I think she will be good. I
Mm-hmm.
think this has the potential to make for great career prospects for her moving forward because people will have a lot of respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say the same for the company and for the franchise that, for the Scream franchise. I don't think that that's a good look for them at all.
Mm-hmm.
So in the long term, there's a clear winner here, of course. It's just a shame, of course, still, but I think she can do better. I think she can do
Yeah.
better anyway.
Yeah. There are often times when these kind of things happen, people on film Twitter are quick to like fan cast the actor into something else. And there are a couple people suggesting that she should be like Wonder Woman now because
Hmm.
and I just want to say
Imagine.
that like I don't think her going from one franchise to another is a good idea.
Probably not.
No, because as you already see, when actors are locked into a franchise, oftentimes franchises take up like scheduling conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Franchises can kind of like take away your own autonomy as an actor, meaning that like
Mm-hmm.
the way that you present yourself, like you have to work out a lot, you have to look a certain way to be in the film, to carry like this certain image of the person that you're, portraying on screen. That kind of takes away like your own personal autonomy, and that.
On one of these Avengers movies, you like take off your shirt or thing, and you're in really good shape. And the director was like, "We got it." You're like, oh, "Can I please stop dieting and working out now?"
And then obviously with Melissa's case, you cannot speak openly about the things you care about because that could, threaten your job. So I
Right.
think that it would be best for her to just kind of like do her own thing for now. She doesn't have to jump into a new job. She probably already has other projects just that she could focus on, or other projects that she has, kind of passed on because of her schedule with Scream and the up her like having to probably start filming for Scream 7 now that the strike has lifted. But
Right.
I think that already proactively like casting her in a franchise is not helpful,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I know when the I remember I don't remember exactly when this happened, but there was this like slew of southern states that had come together in this kind of scary plan to like take away abortion rights in like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Mississippi. I don't remember exactly. And all these legislators had like concocted a plan to like completely restrict abortion rights in their states. And people were
Right.
speaking up about this. A lot of actors were saying like this is terrible, this is wrong, like you shouldn't be doing this. And one thing that I had noticed was like none of the Marvel actors, not a lot of them, were saying stuff about it. And it's because
Right.
a lot of the Marvel actors were in a contract with Audi at the time, and they were like promoting their newest car that's being released around the same time that this was happening. And like obviously Brie Larson can't tweet out like this is terrible because it could upset, Marvel and like the people that are investing in Marvel that could also
Disney.
be
Yeah.
footing that bill that's already passed and all of the
Yeah.
states.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're supposed to work as sort of, tools for the state, tools
Mm-hmm.
for the media empires to sort of keep people to see things a certain way.
Yeah.
And if they disrupt that, then they're, disrupting the machine. They're disrupting the thing that's supposed to be making money for them. And that could cost them a lot of business. It could cost them a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so commendable when you see somebody stand against that. Because Melissa Barrera is like very talented and has a successful career, but there are actors with pretty successful careers who, as we all know, they still struggle to make money in the same way that we might expect them to,
Mm-hmm.
because of the nature of these contracts that actors have with these companies, and the changing landscape with how like sort of replaceable they're treated more and more. So for her to make that kind of sacrifice to stand on business, like you said, that's really important. That's really important and commendable.
Yeah. And you're right, it is very commendable that she did this because we are seeing this shift in Hollywood, especially with the strike, because so
Hmm.
many writers and actors have stood up and said that they deserve to be paid fairly by streaming services and by corporations at large who have not been paying them the fair wages that they deserve, and also their jobs being under the threat of AI now taking over the Hollywood industry. And now
Hmm.
there is this new, political conflict that is kind of like taking over everywhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may feel scared or uncertain if they can say anything because we just now started filming again and started writing again just in time for award season. And do you really want to lose your spot at the Oscars luncheon because you want to state your opinion that most of the
Right.
people may not agree with?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a real make or break kind of thing. Like if you really want to stand for something, like this is the kind of stuff you're gonna have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that when it's hard, that's when you can really know what a person's values are in a certain way.